ladies, and welcome to another weekly power session. Today we have Stephanie Middlecalf with us, who is a business and legal consultant. Stephanie is also a supermom, so juggling business, setting up a brand new membership site, as well as her two little ones. Hi, Stephanie, and welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Claire.
Great to have you. Now, today what we're going to be covering off is privacy policy. And this is absolute must for everyone in our community. Whether you're a service business and a product business or a blogger, it's really important. So Stephanie's going to run through with us today is why we actually need a privacy policy. So take it away, Stephanie.
All right. Hey, so yes, have you ever thought about running Facebook ads? You need a privacy policy. Do you blog? You need a privacy policy. Are you trying to sell something and you're collecting emails because you have a great opt-in? You need a privacy policy. And here's the thing, I hear it all the time, like, oh, well, you know, you can just go and find a privacy policy on the internet and throw it up on your site and you're fine, you're protected. Well, let me just tell you a little story. Think of your website as your body. So you have like your front page of your website. This is kind of like your outfit, your brand. It's everything that represents you and your business. And then when you, I heard a copywriter, I can't think of her name, but she referred to her About Me page as your bra. You know, it's customized. We spend a lot of money on them. We want them to look nice. We're not just going to go find some cheapy little thing and throw it on. We want something that represents us, just like our About Me page. Well, why is it when people hear legal policies, they're like, just go find something for free? Well, you know what? Your legal policies are like your underwear. Mm-hmm. They need to be customized to fit your body and your type. And let's face it, we all have different styles. I mean, I'm a mom with 2 kids. I want something comfortable. You're not going to see me in the sexy thong anymore. And just like with our business, our privacy policy, our terms and conditions, our legal disclaimers, all the legal policies, they all need to be customized for your particular business. And if they're not customized for your business, if you go and you find it on Google, you know, we've all done the late night Google searches looking for something, I need legal. But what you don't realize that you could be doing is agreeing to more liability than you really need, or you're not protecting yourself enough. And unless you can read through the privacy policy that you've got online for free, unless you can read through it and understand everything, and if it applies to your particular business, it's not going to protect you at all. It's like going to a thrift store and getting a pair of gross underwear, and who knows who wore them before, they could be men's, and just saying, it's underwear.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, yours needs to be customized.
Yeah.
And again, if you're going to run Facebook ads, it's required. You have to have one. If you live in the United States, it's required. If you live in Australia, it's required. And I don't know about the other countries, but if you're doing business in any of these countries, it's required there.
Yeah. So
you might as well just get it and make sure it's customized and tailored to your business. So privacy policies. What exactly needs to be in a privacy policy? Well, number one, you need to know what information you're gathering from your website or your blog. That is, are you just gathering emails? Are you wanting people's address? Will your site collect cookies? You know, not the kind we want to eat, but, you know, all the analytics and all that tech stuff. You know, people need to know what information you are collecting. Then they need to know what is the information going to be used for? So for instance, are you just collecting information because you have a newsletter and you want to send people updates? Okay, well, you need to tell people that. Are you collecting their information because you just have analytics set up and you want to look at the different demographics where your customers are coming from? Like, are they coming from Twitter? Are they coming from Facebook? Are they coming from the US? Are they coming from Canada? So what are you going to use this information for? And then another question you have to ask is, how is this information going to be collected? Again, like I said, is it through the website tracking? Is it like people just voluntarily enter it on your computer? You know, do they have to log in? I mean, so they need to know how the information is going to be collected. Your privacy policy needs to know who's going to use the site.
Yep.
So, for instance, a really big one is children. There are so many rules and regulations when it comes to children users on the internet. So if your business or your blog is tailored specifically for young children to come to your website, then you have to have certain rules and certain things on your website for children and what you're going to do with the children's information. Because one of the things, I don't know how it is in some countries, but in the US, children can't enter into binding contracts until they're 18.
Yeah.
So what happens when they come to this site and they agree to something and then they don't follow through? There could be some serious privacy concerns there. So if you don't want children under 13 on your site, you need to say something like, hey, if you're 13, the site's not for you. So there are certain things that you need to do. And then you need to look towards the future, like what sort of information might you collect in the future? This is important because as your business evolves and changes, your privacy policy might need to evolve and change. But here's where it gets tricky. So say you have like a click-through. So if someone buys your product or downloads something, you always want to make sure they agree to the terms and conditions, agree to my privacy policy. This is called a click-through.
Yep.
So people click it on your site and they say, yeah, I agreed to it, which, I mean, come on. Do we even read those? We should.
Yep.
Because you need to know what you're agreeing to. And that's why people put it on their site as just another level of protection. So what happens if you say in 2 years from now, you decide to take your business in a different direction and your privacy policy might change in some ways? Well, people already agreed to it. So you need to be looking towards the future, like, okay, well, how are you going to modify these and change these? So people need to be aware of that. And so sometimes you'll see where people say, I can modify the privacy policy at my desire, my discretion. Or you could say, okay, well, I will email you the clauses that have been changed to the privacy policy. So you just kind of want to think about your business in the future and where you think it might go where it might go. So when you're looking at your 3-year goals, your 5-year goals, your 10-year goals of your business, you have to take into consideration your privacy policy and where you want that to go as well. So those are pretty much the big 5 requirements that need to be on your privacy policy. So people need to know what information you're gathering, what is the information used for, how is the information collected, who will use the site, and what information will be gathered in the future.
That's perfect. I mean, the last thing you want is an email or a letter from the Information Ombudsman, which we have over here. And having worked many years in corporate, I have, well, not me, but the business I've worked with has received that information. And how you can get caught out over here in Australia, and same as in the UK, having worked there, is if you've started a business, this is probably really good, especially if you're opening up more and more and more businesses. But if you've started a business, and let's just say it's called, Bob's Kids Toys, and you're in a partnership with someone, and the business grows and it's quite big, and then you leave that particular business maybe on bad terms or whatever it may be, and you go and set up a new business that's got to do with kids furniture, say for instance, for their rooms. That information that's with the first particular company has to stay with that information, that particular company. If you take that data across without permission, you can be caught out over here. It's got to, because the customer signed up with one company and knew that they were going to get information on one particular thing. You can't take that data and go and put in another product, another company totally. That's not who they've signed up with. So there's got to be consent there. So yeah, I mean, if you see all the opt-ins have privacy policy, every single opt-in, as you mentioned, Facebook pages, websites, just anything that you're signing into, reading, online buying, everything has to have a privacy statement with it. So I think this is a really important topic to talk about. And we all know that the community that we're in right now, we're not legal experts, and Stephanie, that's why you're here today to help us out. But yeah, I think it's just a reminder to say, there are a lot, like you mentioned, a lot of free disclaimers and privacy policies out there. It might not be suited to your state that you're in, your country, or your particular business. So just make sure you read of that before you go and stick it on your website.
Absolutely. Well, and another thing too is that it needs to be accurate.
Yeah.
So if you're saying, like, say you got one for free, you put it up there, and you're saying, I'm not going to give the information to third parties, and you put that on there. Yeah. Well, if people can buy products from your site, if you have PayPal or Stripe or anything set up, that's giving money to third party. That is giving information to third parties. And a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, they haven't broke it all down. So if you are collecting credit card information, but on your website policy, it says we don't share information with third parties, right there, it's not accurate. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about, Australia again, but we have the FTC over here, and you don't want to get in trouble by them. You don't want them to even know who you are.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you wouldn't be invisible to them. So there are things that you need to do, and you need to draft your policies to avoid getting in trouble by the FTC and avoid getting in trouble by the states and the countries you belong to. And so a huge one is accuracy. It needs to be accurate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Stephanie, that's been, incredibly useful. And like I said, great for our community, because I would probably say out of, our group, we probably have one legal person such as yourself in the community. A lot of us are service-based businesses, coaches, also product-based businesses. So what we'll do is I will, with the power session for our mums, I will actually pop through the legal checklist that they can actually sign up and have a squiz through and have a look how that can assist them. So I'd like to thank you so much for all your time today and for helping us out on privacy policies. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be speaking to you in the future.
All right. Thanks for having me, Claire.
Thanks, Stephanie. Bye.
Bye.